In this video, we will explore how the viral clip fooled millions, how investigators uncovered the truth, and what lessons it teaches about digital deception, collective fear, and the fragile nature of belief. The Jessica Radcliffe orca hoax, truth behind the viral panic. When the video first appeared online, it looked like just another shocking clip from a marine park. A shaky camera, a loud crowd, and a moment of chaos that seemed too real to ignore. People saw what looked like a trainer, introduced as Jessica Radcliffe, standing near the edge of a large water tank. Then, in a sudden blur of motion, an orca surged upward, and the video cut to screams and splashing water. For millions of viewers, that split second was enough to believe that a real tragedy had unfolded in front of their eyes. The video wasn't uploaded by a news channel or an official page. It came from a random account with no identity, no details, and no past history. But on social media, identity no longer matters, virality does. Within minutes, the clip spread like a spark dropped in dry grass. People shared it on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube Shorts, and Facebook, desperate to react, shocked to their core by what they believed they were witnessing. Comments began flooding in. Some expressed horror, others pointed fingers at marine parks, and many expressed heartbreak for a trainer they had never even heard of before that day. The emotional weight of the clip made people connect instantly to the story, turning the video into a growing digital wildfire. Every share, every comment, and every stitched reaction fueled the flame, pushing the clip further across the internet. For the average viewer, there was no reason to question the footage. It had everything a real incident would: noise, panic, movement, and confusion. The video was expertly crafted to mimic the messy realism of an emergency, and because human minds are wired to respond strongly to fear, viewers filled in the gap themselves, completing the story that the clip only hinted at. Multiple creators stitched the video with their own reactions. Some added dramatic music, others added captions claiming this was breaking news, and many repeated the same words: "This is terrifying." With each reaction video, the clip gained more weight, more credibility, and more emotional power. Every added voice made the original seem more real than it ever was. People began searching her name, Jessica Radcliffe. They wanted to know if she survived, what happened to her, and how a trained professional could face such a horrifying attack. But the more people looked, the more confused the situation became. No legitimate information surfaced, yet the video continued to spread. Influencers and commentary channels joined the wave, sharing their opinions without verifying the story. The internet had created an echo chamber where fear echoed louder with every repost. The loudest voices weren't seeking truth. They were feeding the adrenaline of the moment, and because the clip looked so raw, people trusted the emotion instead of the evidence. Every time someone shared the video with a caption like "Pray for Jessica" or "This is horrible," the line between reality and illusion blurred further. Fear does not wait for confirmation. Fear demands reaction. And so millions of people became part of a story that didn't exist, spreading it even faster than the original creator ever imagined. The most surprising part was how quickly the video jumped from one platform to another. It wasn't limited to one country or one time zone. It went global within a day. From the US to Europe to Asia, people watched it with the same shock and helplessness, unaware that they were sharing a moment that was never real. By the time the first doubts appeared, the video had already achieved what the creator intended: mass confusion, emotional chaos, and worldwide attention. It became proof of how a single, fabricated moment designed to trigger fear could overpower the critical thinking of millions, and all of it started with one carefully edited clip that looked real enough to fool the world. The moment the investigators reached the burn, doubt building, they sensed that nothing about this place was normal. The smell of smoke still lingered in the air, even though the fire had been extinguished hours earlier. What was strange was not the fire itself, but how selective it seemed, like it had consumed only the central corridor while leaving the outer rooms nearly untouched. Firefighters who first arrived said the flames behaved unnaturally, rising and falling in sudden waves as if reacting to something invisible moving inside. Authorities tried to blame it on a faulty heater, but the nearby villagers insisted the building had no electricity since last year. As the investigators stepped deeper into the ruins, they noticed symbols scorched into the floor, not drawn by hand but formed by patterns in the burn marks, symmetrical and precise, as though the fire had carved them intentionally. One investigator found a charred notebook, its edges blackened but its center mostly intact, as if protected by something. Inside were shaking handwritten entries from the missing rescue worker, describing strange events he witnessed during the days before he disappeared. He wrote about hearing footsteps in rooms that were empty, about shadows that moved against the direction of the light, and about a low humming sound that vibrated through the walls at night. He claimed the abandoned building felt alive, and that every hour inside felt like it lasted longer than it should. The last page ended abruptly with a line smeared in panic. "Something is watching me from the hallway." As the team read the words, they couldn't ignore the cold breeze that passed through the doorway. Even though every window was sealed by ash, the more they searched, the more contradictions they found. The fire had burned hot enough to melt metal hinges in one room, yet a pile of dry papers 2 feet away remained untouched. A steel door on the second floor appeared to have been bent outward, as if something had forced its way through from the inside with inhuman strength. Yet there were no footprints leading to or from it. Not from people, not from animals. One investigator, trained in structural damage analysis, quietly admitted that he had never seen fire behave in such a way. He said the burn trajectories suggested that the flames moved, like they were following something, weaving around obstacles and creating patterns instead of spreading randomly. Outside the ruins, villagers told investigators that the rescue worker had come here alone a week before he vanished. They said they warned him not to stay after sunset because they often saw lights flickering inside the abandoned building at night, lights that looked like lanterns moving from room to room, though no one lived there. Some villagers said they heard shouting inside the building, but whenever they approached, everything went silent. They believed the place had been cursed since the day it was shut down, and that anyone who stayed too long inside heard whispers calling their name. The investigators dismissed most of these claims as superstition. But the deeper they went into the building, the harder it was to ignore the eerie quiet that wrapped itself around them. As the investigation continued, the team discovered a locked basement door that had somehow survived the fire without a single scorch mark. The padlock was rusted but intact, as though untouched for years. When they forced it open, a blast of cold air rushed out, colder than anything outside in the winter night. Inside, the basement contained rows of old archival cabinets, most filled with reports about strange experiments conducted decades ago. Experiments involving sensory deprivation, human behavioral observation, and long-term isolation in soundproof rooms. The rescue worker had underlined one page repeatedly, where a researcher wrote, "Exposure beyond 30 minutes induces hallucinations, auditory distortions, and perception of unseen presences." The investigators realized that the rescue worker had likely uncovered something dangerous, something connected to the building's past that someone or something didn't want revealed. The deeper they looked, the more they felt as though the building itself was resisting them. Tools went missing. Flashlights flickered, cameras shut off without explanation. One investigator swore he heard a whisper behind him, soft but clear, "Leave." Another said he saw a figure at the end of the burned hallway, standing completely still, only to vanish when he blinked. The team tried to remain rational, but their nerves slowly began to crack. Witnesses later said the investigators came out looking pale, exhausted, and shaken, as if they had spent days inside instead of a few hours. When asked what they found, they refused to speak publicly. Their official report claimed structural instability and accidental fire, but villagers noticed they never returned to the building again. Some say the ruins remain untouched because the authorities quietly sealed off the area that night. Others say it wasn't the authorities, it was the investigators themselves, who feared something beneath the ashes was still watching them. Even now, anyone who passes by the fenced-off area claims to hear faint footsteps echoing through the empty halls, and sometimes, late at night, a single light flickers behind the shattered window where the rescue worker was last seen. When analysts first examined viral Jasica Radcliffe orca video, they noticed inconsistencies that didn't match real-life physics. The splash of water from the orca seemed slightly delayed compared to the trainer's movement, and the reflections in the tank were inconsistent with the surrounding environment. Experts in marine animal behavior noted that the orca's jump trajectory and timing were impossible for a real orca in that tank. Every subtle anomaly added weight to a growing suspicion. Something about the video wasn't natural. A deeper look at the video frames revealed digital manipulation. Pixels around the orca and the trainer's silhouette flickered unnaturally when enlarged, hinting at compositing techniques. The shadows didn't align with the light source. Even the water spray appeared slightly exaggerated, as though artificially layered onto the scene. Analysts concluded that the video had been stitched together from multiple sources, creating a moment of chaos that felt real, but was entirely fabricated. The search for Jessica Radcliffe herself revealed the most telling clue. Her name did not appear in any employment records at marine parks or aquariums. There were no personal social media profiles that matched her identity. No interviews, no photographs, no historical records. It became clear that the person in the video was either an AI-generated face or a composite. Multiple real faces, designed to look convincingly human. The mystery wasn't just about the video anymore. It was about a non-existent person made to seem real. Digital forensic experts traced the origin of the video and found that it had been uploaded by an anonymous account with no prior history of posting real news content. The account had existed for only a few hours before the video went viral. It had been optimized to spread quickly, short, shocking, and emotionally intense. Every share, like, and comment contributed to the algorithm promoting it across platforms. In essence, the internet itself became the engine that amplified the illusion. Even the audio was manipulated. Analysts discovered that the screams and splashes were a combination of real animal sounds and AI-generated human screams. The sound timing didn't always match the movement of the trainer or the orca. This discrepancy, invisible to casual viewers, became a smoking gun for digital manipulation. The more the experts examined the clip, the more layers of fabrication emerged. The speed with which the video spread created a psychological phenomenon known as collective belief. People assumed it was real because so many others reacted as though it was. Influencers stitched reaction videos onto the original clip, adding narration, captions, and music that intensified fear. Each added layer made the story feel more credible. In the minds of millions, the incident had become a confirmed reality, even though it never happened. Fact-checkers and journalists tried to trace the video's claims, but every lead led to dead ends. No park issued a press release. No rescue operation occurred. No emergency calls were logged. It became clear that the original intent of the video was not to report a real incident, but to exploit social media's viral mechanics. Fear, suspense, and emotional triggers were enough to convince the masses. The revelation of deep, fake technology shocked many. People realized that the video was proof of how sophisticated AI tools had become. In the past, fake videos could be spotted easily. Now, with advanced compositing, AI voices, and manipulated physics, even trained eyes could be fooled. The viral clip served as both a cautionary tale and an example of digital deception at a global scale. Psychologists later noted that viewers were emotionally invested in the clip because of the perceived danger to a human life. Seeing someone in peril, even virtually, triggered empathy and fear. This emotional response overrode critical thinking, making the illusion far more effective than a standard clickbait video. Millions of people felt horror and shock, even though nothing had actually happened. The most important lesson from the Jessica Radcliffe video hoax was not the event itself, because it never actually occurred. The real story was about how easily human perception could be manipulated. Millions of viewers reacted to a fabricated scenario as if it were real, showing that emotion often overrides logic when fear is involved. The digital age had created a new kind of danger, one that could make people believe in horrors that never existed. Social media algorithms amplified the clip in ways that few people understood. The more users engaged with the video, the more platforms promoted it. Each share, comment, and reaction added credibility, giving the illusion of truth. In this sense, the hoax was not just about deception. It was about the mechanics of virality and how collective attention can give a lie. The weight of reality, deep, fake technology and AI manipulation had become invisible tools in the process. The orca, the trainer, the splashes, and even the screams had been artificially created or combined from separate sources. This advanced digital manipulation demonstrated how future incidents could be crafted to look even more convincing. What had fooled millions in this case was just the beginning of what digital creators could do, making the hoax a warning about the growing power of synthetic media. Psychologists studying the phenomenon pointed out that the emotional response triggered by perceived danger is immediate and almost uncontrollable. Fear activates a primal part of the brain, bypassing rational thought. The viral clip exploited this instinct, making people react first and question later. Millions experienced real terror in response to an event that never occurred, which illustrated how human psychology can be manipulated through visual storytelling. The incident also revealed society's blind trust in video as evidence. In the past, photos or clips were often considered proof. Now, with deep fakes, synthetic media, and AI tools, visual content could no longer be trusted at face value. People realized that seeing is no longer believing, and that digital content required verification before acceptance. The viral hoax was a wake-up call, challenging the very way humans processed information in the modern world. Even news outlets and fact-checkers were initially caught off guard. The speed at which the video circulated made it nearly impossible to verify in real time. As journalists dug deeper, they found inconsistencies in the footage, but by then, millions had already seen it and formed their own narratives. This highlighted the asymmetry between speed and accuracy in the age of viral content, where false information often spreads faster than corrections or clarifications. The social consequences of the hoax were subtle but significant. Some viewers experienced stress or anxiety, believing they had witnessed a real tragedy. Others shared the video in panic, inadvertently spreading misinformation. Even as the truth emerged, the emotional imprint of the video lingered. This showed that the effect of false content could last far beyond the moment of exposure, affecting perceptions and trust. The hoax also prompted discussions about accountability and responsibility. Who creates such content and why? Should social media platforms implement stricter verification, or should users exercise greater critical thinking? The incident sparked debates about ethics, technology, and the balance between freedom of expression and misinformation, highlighting the complex challenges of the digital age. Ultimately, the Jasica Radcliffe incident was a lesson in discernment. It forced viewers to confront the fragility of belief and the ease with which perception can be manipulated. It was a warning that in an age of advanced digital tools, the line between reality and fabrication is thinner than ever. Understanding this lesson was more important than the fear the clip generated, because truth remained the only safeguard against deception. The story concluded with a chilling realization. While the viral video was exposed as a hoax, the mechanisms that made it believable still exist. Millions of people could still fall victim to similar manipulations, and new hoaxes could emerge at any time. In this sense, the real danger was not the Orca attack, but the ease with which humans can be made to believe in a fabricated reality, reminding everyone that vigilance, verification, and logic are more important than instinctive fear. If millions of people can be fooled by a single video, how much of what you see online every day can you really trust?